You finally sit down to rest. No deadlines, no messages, no urgent tasks. And yet, your chest feels tight. A quiet voice whispers, you should be doing something. Why does doing nothing feel wrong? You tell yourself you deserve a break. But 5 minutes later, you're checking your phone, opening a random tab, thinking about unfinished work. You're not relaxing, you're monitoring. It's like your body is on the couch, but your mind is still clocked in. And the strange part is, you might be productive most of the time. You meet responsibilities, you try hard, you push yourself. Yet rest feels undeserved. You feel valuable when you're useful, and invisible when you're not. This isn't just about work. It affects how you sit with family, how you spend weekends, how you talk to yourself. When you're busy, you feel structured. When you're still, you feel exposed. And over time, something subtle happens. Your identity fuses with output. You don't just do productive things. You are the productive one. So when you rest, it doesn't feel like a break. It feels like a threat. But a threat to what? Hold that question. First, this isn't laziness, and it isn't a character flaw. It's an adaptation. Your brain learned something at some point. Being useful equals being safe. Maybe praise came when you achieved. Maybe attention came when you performed. Maybe peace came when you handled everything. So your nervous system made a quiet equation. Productivity equals worth, rest equals risk. This isn't weakness, it's conditioning. And conditioning is powerful because it hides inside identity. Let's look at what's happening in your brain. There's a system called the reward circuit. It involves dopamine pathways in areas like the ventral striatum. Dopamine isn't just pleasure, it's motivation, anticipation, progress tracking. When you complete a task, your brain releases a small reward signal. You feel relief, momentum, control. Over time, your brain links achievement with emotional stability. Now add another layer, the default mode network. This network activates when you're not focused on a task, when you're resting, when your mind wanders. It's responsible for self-reflection. But here's the catch. If your inner self-talk is critical, resting activates that voice. When you stop doing, you start evaluating. And if your self-worth depends on output, evaluation feels dangerous. So your brain tries to escape stillness. You feel restless, guilty, uneasy. Think of your mind like a guard dog. As long as you're moving, it's calm. The moment you sit still, it starts scanning for threats. What are we missing? What are we behind on? What if we fall behind? Rest becomes associated with vulnerability. And the brain hates vulnerability without control. So it pushes you back into action. Not because you need to work, but because movement feels safer than stillness. We won't fix this with just relax. We'll work with the brain, not against it. Step 1. Separate worth from output. What to do? At the end of the day, write one sentence that has nothing to do with achievement. For example, I showed patience today, or I listened carefully. Why it works. This shifts identity from performance-based validation to trait-based identity. In psychology, identity becomes stable when it's tied to values, not outcomes. When your brain sees worth outside productivity, rest stops feeling like erasure. Example. Instead of saying, today was useless, you notice, I handled that conversation calmly. That changes the internal scoreboard. Step 2. Schedule rest like a task, what to do. Put rest in your calendar, literally. Why it works. Your brain trusts structure. When rest is planned, it activates the same completion circuitry as work. It becomes intentional, not accidental. Example, if you rest randomly, guilt appears. If you see 8 o'clock to 8:30 recovery on your schedule, your brain reads it as alignment, not avoidance. The guard dog relaxes because it sees order. Step 3. Practice productive stillness. What to do? During rest, give your brain a light anchor. breathing, stretching, slow walking. Why it works. Completely unstructured stillness activates rumination in some people. But gentle sensory focus keeps the default mode network from spiraling. You're not numbing yourself. You're stabilizing attention. Example. Instead of lying in bed overthinking, you focus on 5 slow breaths. The body learns that stillness doesn't equal danger. Step 4. Notice the first guilt. Thought what to do. When guilt appears, don't argue with it. Just label it. That's the productivity script. Why it works. Cognitive diffusion from acceptance and commitment therapy creates distance between you and the thought. You stop identifying with it. Example. Instead of, I'm wasting time, you say, I'm having the thought that I'm wasting time. Subtle difference. Massive neurological shift. The amygdala calms when thoughts aren't treated as facts. Step 5. Gradual exposure to rest. What to do. Increase rest tolerance slowly. 5 minutes, then 10, then 15. Why it works. Avoidance strengthens anxiety. Exposure weakens it. If your brain learned that stillness equals risk, you retrain it through safe repetition. Example. Sit without stimulation for 5 minutes. Notice discomfort rise. Notice it fall. Your nervous system learns, we survived. That's how conditioning changes. Here's the simple mental model. Your brain built a worth alarm system. It rings when output stops. Not because you're failing, but because it once believed performance protected you. Rest feels guilty because your identity fused with usefulness. So the real shift isn't about forcing relaxation, it's about teaching your nervous system that you still exist when you're not producing. You are not a machine that powers down. You are a system that recalibrates. Rest isn't absence, it's integration. Next time you sit down and guilt rises, don't rush to silence it, just notice it. That voice was once trying to keep you safe. But safety doesn't always look like motion. Sometimes it looks like stillness that no longer scares you. You are allowed to exist without proving it. And maybe real strength is learning to stay when nothing is being achieved.